Olá, seja bem-vindo ao círculoescola.com. A aula de hoje é uma aula especial. Muita gente que está aí interessada, se matriculando no curso de iniciação à exoconsciência, pergunta, mas como que é esse curso por dentro? E nós estamos disponibilizando aulas, essa daqui é uma delas, que são pontuais. Você vai encontrar com elas dentro do curso de iniciação à exoconsciência. Você vai sentir o nosso ambiente de estudos, a qualidade da imagem, do som, a qualidade do conteúdo. Então, essa é uma quarta-feira especial, porque está entrando essa aula especial, que é um taste, uma demonstração, uma amostra grátis do curso de iniciação à exoconsciência. Agora, não estranha, esse foi um curso que não foi feito da noite para o dia. E ele também não é para ser consumido da noite para o dia, não é? Não é fast food. Esse foi um curso que foi criado ao longo de 3 anos. 3 anos debruçado, criando a melhor experiência de autoconhecimento e autodesenvolvimento que você pode ter. Agora, você vai reparar que às vezes vai aparecer um posate meio diferente, mais gordinho, mais barbudo, menos gordinho, mais barbudo, algum palestrante ou professor aí com o cabelo mais platinado, menos platinado, normal. São as pequenas mudanças que nós fomos vivendo ao longo do tempo. Mas não se atenha a isso. Se atenha ao conteúdo que nós estamos apresentando no dia de hoje para você, que você vai perceber que vale a pena participar da próxima turma do curso de iniciação à exoconsciência. Essa próxima turma tem vagas somente, matrículas somente até o dia 15 de agosto de 2021. Depois, só o ano que vem, tá bem? Então aproveita, curte, sente e vai lá em círculoescola.com para garantir a sua vaga nesse curso. Beleza? Então, boa aula para você hoje. Solta a vinheta, Guilherme!
Hello, I'm Dr. Rebecca Hardcastle Wright from the Institute for Exoconsciousness, and I'm glad to be here sharing with Circle the discussion of jumping into self. And I would like to share with you some tools, some ideas, some new perspectives of who we are as exoconscious humans and why our knowledge of self is so important in this unfolding of becoming an exoconscious human. The first question we started with as we began the series was, how do I know my experience is real? And we talked about how do we know when we experience paranormal phenomenon, UFOs, extraterrestrials, orbs, angels, ghosts, any form of mediumship, how do we know that that's a real experience for us? And oftentimes that question comes when we first begin our initial steps into moving into spirituality, moving into parapsychic phenomenon, moving into paranormal, where we're just loaded, just full of questions. Is this real? What does this mean for me? How can this be real? It's so unlike my 3D life. And then gradually we begin to have more and more experiences, one experience on top of the other. And we talked about trust being built up inside of ourselves, to trust that experience as a consistent experience over time, that I can trust myself, that I can trust the phenomenon or the being or the energy with whom I am communicating, contacting, co-creating, and that over time, that long timeline of consistency is what makes us feel safe and makes us feel grounded. And those are how we become, those experiences then over time, logical, consistent, safe experiences are how we become exoconscious humans. So I would like to take question number 1 and move it down to question number 2 and replace question number 1 with, how do I know myself is real? Because we need to answer this question. How do I know myself is real? In order to become exoconscious humans. If we don't know who we are as self, then we will never know who we are in relationship to extraterrestrial multidimensional beings. I'm going to say that again because it's important. If we don't know who we are as self, we will not know who we are as exoconscious humans. If all you care about is that you see a UFO, or that you have an ET experience, or that you had an orb in a photograph that you took was full of orbs, or that you saw an angel or you felt an angel. If that one experience is all you care about, then that's not exoconsciousness. That could be the beginning of exoconsciousness. But it's not exoconsciousness. Once again, exoconsciousness is trusting our experience over time. So an exoconscious human doesn't have one experience. As a matter of fact, their entire life is framed around experiences. Their entire life is oriented like a compass. Their entire life is oriented like a compass around their ET multidimensional experiences. It helps them solve problems. It helps them to understand all of the multidimensional parts of reality that they're experiencing. It helps them to make decisions. It helps them to be grounded and safe and secure in the world. It's a compass. It's a compass for how we move through life. Extraterrestrial, multidimensional experiences become a compass for how we move through life. So today, we're going to go further into what are some tools that we can use to develop trust of self. How do I trust myself? And remember the last sessions we talked about trauma. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. We talked about trauma and how trauma overlays our neural system. Trauma overlays our unconscious, and we become a conscious chain reaction of moving through, I'm angry and I fight, and then I'm a victim and I freeze, and then I'm spacey and ADHD and I pop out of my body, and finally I may be a caregiver and a suffering servant and giving my life to others where there's no life left for me. So we move through all of these trauma responses unconsciously. And as we stay in that trauma response circle, I fight, I flee, I freeze, I fawn. And we create And we create this continually in our life, around and around, one trauma response after the next, until we are just kind of an automatic pilot car. Our life, we're just driving on automatic pilot. We don't know where we're going. We don't know who we are. We don't know who we are in relationship to ourselves, much less others. We're just unconscious reaction. Move, decide. And we're spinning. Until we stop the spinning. Stop the spinning. And we say, I'm not going to live defined by my trauma reactions. I'm not going to live defined by my trauma reactions. Understanding trauma and not being defined by our trauma reactions, that leads us to understanding and defining self and becoming exoconscious humans, was moved forward in a type of psychology called attachment theory. Attachment theory was developed by a psychologist named Bowlby. What he discovered was between the time of birth to the time of 3 years old, a child's security in the world is determined. That time of birth to 3 are the building blocks of how safe and secure we feel in the world. Is the world going to attack me? So I'm going to fight. Is the world going to make me a victim so I freeze? Is the world going to abuse me so I'm not safe in my body and I have to fly out of my body? Is the world going to be unkind to me? So if I'm kind to everybody, then the world will for sure love me, for sure. And what Bowlby said is that this trauma reaction is formed birth to 3 years old. We all have parents, and some of us have children. Some of us have nieces and nephews. Some of us have foster children. Some of us have adopted children, biological children. Whatever that birth experience is for that child, birth to 3 years old, those blocks of how safe they feel in the world are set in motion. It's really quite a remarkable psychology of responsibility. And it's new. It's not Freudian, all about, you fell in love with your mother and you wanted to kill your father. No. This is just about what happens every day in that child's life to make them feel safe and happy and secure. Who is a person like that? Because, parents get sick, parents lose their jobs, the economy goes into a depression, the father or mother's in the military and they have to leave and go on an assignment. Somebody gets sick, somebody gets postpartum depression, somebody has had a history of psychological mental health issues in their life. Somebody maybe is an alcoholic. Maybe one of the siblings in the house gets sick. Maybe the baby, 1 to 3 gets sick. Maybe the baby has to go to the hospital for a week or 2 weeks. Maybe the baby has asthma. I can't breathe. I'm going to die. All of these are traumas. All of these are possible scenarios. Maybe the baby's in a car wreck with the mom and dad. I mean, it could be, you name it. It could be anything. Maybe one of the mother's parents die. I mean, it could be any trauma that comes to us in life. Verse 3. That's what determines how safe that child is. So taking that Bowlby, 1 to 3. There's a man called Catkin. He wrote a book called Wired for Love. And in this book, he took Bowlby's attachment theory. He took attachment theory. He took the attachment theory. And instead of talking about fight, flight, freeze, fawn, Tatkin started to talk about the 1 to 3, the birth to 3. What different personalities do we develop as a result of what happens to us birth to 3? And he talks about 3 different types of attachment that happen to us as humans. That really had a pretty easy birth, no complications. Had parents who were financially stable, emotionally stable, lovely home life, kind of a quiet place to enter the world. The home was like a nest of nurturing behaviors, of love, of acceptance. Those children feel secure. And those children become an anchor. They literally have the ability, and if you're an anchor, you literally have the ability to ground yourself in life at deep, deep, deep levels, to ask deep questions, to live not only deeply as a human, but on the 3D plane, but you have the ability to move out into the cosmos and connect on a multidimensional level and still feel safe. Okay? Safe and secure. Now, unfortunately, most people are not anchors. Most of us have abuse, trauma, something happened, a car wreck, an illness, a circumstance. When that traumatic circumstance happens, Tatkin says that we go 2 ways with that circumstance. People who choose the flight response become aggressive, and they become what's known as waves. Did you ever know anybody that you were in relationship with and they just continually, every time you tried to calm things down, they would come in and have a drama, or, oh my God, you can't believe what happened to me today. It's the end of the world. Or they would be hypercritical of you. I can't believe you made that decision. What's wrong with you? What are you thinking? Or, oh my God, I am so mad at her. She makes me so angry. That's a wave. And their entire life is lived coming into relationships, coming into life, coming into circumstances, coming into environments. And, okay, let's just call it what it is. Troublemaking. The troublemakers. They come in, they upset everything, they cause chaos. Why do they do that? Something wrong with them? If you remember what we talked about the neural system, what happens with our neural system? Their neural system likes making trouble. Their neural system likes chaos. In their neural system, chaos equals happiness. Equals familiar. Oftentimes, troublemakers aren't always public about it. It could be on the outside, my relationship with my partner looks so happy. We seem so happy to everybody. Other people are jealous. Behind closed doors, troublemaking, chaos all the time. And remember, they make chaos because their neural system is happy. Their neural system is their trauma response neural system. Trauma response neural system holds a familiar reaction to making waves. Person who is passive becomes an island. For them, the trauma response is separation, isolation, separation and isolation. 21st century island would be personified by my husband goes to work all day, we text back and forth, we have a little communication, and he comes home and plays video games until we go to bed. That's an island. An island is, I work all week and we're so busy and I feel like my partner, life is coming together with my partner. And then we have a day planned on Saturday and we're going to go for a walk and go out to lunch. And all of a sudden, she's got a migraine headache and doesn't want to go. And an island is someone who comes home every night and watches television and Netflix, one show after the next, all night long. Video games, television, illness, any way that they can separate themselves from other people. Because just like the wave, their familiar is I am isolated. I am separate. I need my time of retreat. I'm overwhelmed and I am not going to engage with you at the level that you want me to. I'm the wife and I plan a wonderful 25th birthday party for my husband and I make it a surprise and I invited our friends and I rent a banquet room for everybody to be together. And he comes home and I say, I'm in the driveway waiting saying, oh, happy birthday. I've got a special evening planned. And my partner looks at me and goes, I'm not going anywhere. I've got a contract to write. I've got a deadline. I'm not going to a birthday party. I've got a deadline. I'm going to separate. I'm going to isolate. So one of the ways that we can begin to know ourselves is we can begin to recognize in a relationship, are we the relationship, are we the person that is secure? Or are we really the troublemaker, the one that likes chaos and drama? Drama, drama, drama. Or are we the island that on Saturday just wants to stay in bed all day? Stay in bed all day and not talk to anybody and play on my telephone. It's not only important in these attachment theories of anchor, wave, and island that we know how we are in relationship, but it's important that we know how ourself relates to all of this. How do I treat myself? Am I grounded and secure in my self-worth, in my self-understanding, in my experiences? Or am I a wave? Am I not secure? Am I always looking for affirmation or someone to get caught up in the energy with me and feel the energy with me? Ask the questions, stir things up with myself. Am I always self-doubt? Am I always stirring up my self-doubt? Or am I an island? Am I just zoned out in denial about who I am? This is just one tool to look at. Am I an anchor? Am I a wave? Am I an island? How do I treat myself? Do I treat myself on love and security? I'm safe, protected, comforted, loved, provided for? Or do I treat myself as trauma and see, I knew that was going to happen again. See, I knew that. I told you that was going to happen. Are we an island of glazed eyes, not even aware of where we are? Somehow to know myself, we have to move beyond how do I know myself is real. We move beyond birth to the attachment. Issues and behaviors. We can't hold ourselves or others responsible for what happened with our family life. We can't hold ourselves responsible for the car accident or the hospitalization or the family legacy of depression or the alcoholism or the unfulfilled expectation or the absent parent. We can't hold ourselves responsible for what happened birth to 3 that caused us to be anchors, waves, and islands. That was beyond our ability to solve. We were just children. What we do have the ability to do as we release all this is to move into becoming exoconscious human. And we learn how to parent ourselves. We learn how to parent ourselves. And we self-regulate. We don't become imprisoned by our trauma response, but instead, we self-regulate. We step back. Here I am, I'm in this circumstance, and every cell in my neural system wants me to run and hide and play a video game or get lost on my telephone. Every cell in my neural body wants me to run away. And when we begin to parent ourselves, we stop. And we don't do that. And we tell our neural system, I feel you coursing through my body like an explosion, and I am not going to act or react from the explosion of neurochemicals that you are blasting through this, because my will and my self-knowledge is bigger than a chemical explosion. And we stop and we make a choice. And we make a choice. We make a choice as though we have had a secure childhood and we have been loved and cared for, because now we are the parent. We are the parent that provides the security of what we all need. You may ask, what the heck does this have to do with exoconsciousness? What's this have to do with ETs? ETs are this amazing host of beings that, we're just trying to be in contact with. It's just a really cool thing. We all want to do it. What's this got to do with exoconsciousness? If you are exoconscious, you have what is called a multidimensional mind. You have the possibility of standing with both feet on the earth and simultaneously living in all of these dimensions at the same time. It's amazing. It's an amazing innate ability. It's an amazing innate ability that every human has. That you're not going to be able to exercise and move with and use and co-create with this multidimensional mind until you know who you are. Otherwise, you are just a blindfolded human having experiences out in other dimensions with the inability to see what they mean for your life as a grounded, secure, defined, loved human. So the information that you bring from all of these dimensions back to you as a human are filtered by yourself. And if you don't know who you are, then chances are you think that you've gone into this relationship with ET, and you think you've gone into these dimensions, and man, you've got the mission for the galaxy. I'm working for the largest galactic council there is. I have a mission. No, you don't, because chances are you don't know who you are. You're still that child that came into earth. What we're talking about here, about exoconsciousness, it's not about being a star child. It's not about being this amazing 6-year-old genius. There's always been geniuses. There's always been kids that have been hooked up to, and I can play the piano, I can do quantum physics, I go to Harvard at 12. There's always been these kids. It's nothing new. You're nothing new. The other thing that's new now is that because of these different theories, we can go deeper and deeper and deeper into who we are. As mature adults. If you are If you are co-creating with extraterrestrials and you don't know who you are, and you haven't examined your life, and you haven't examined how your attachment to life works or how your trauma response works, and you're co-creating with an ET, and you're suddenly given some amazing 0-point energy, fission, fusion type equation. Do you really think you're going to be able to handle it? Or are you just going to stumble blindly into some government program or some person that offers you a scholarship to Stanford, or, you're not, because you're not mature. We are moving into a time when exoconscious humans are co-creating with ETs, and we are going to be given information because we are self-regulating, responsible, mature people who have come to the planet at this time because we don't want to make the mistakes that were made before. We don't want to bring in the technology that blasts apart the planet like Atlantis, or floods the planet, or causes a species to disappear. We want to be self-regulated and responsible and careful, not only with extraterrestrial information, but careful with ourselves. And that has got to be the bottom line of exoconsciousness. How do you treat yourself? How do you treat yourself? How do you treat others in community? And how do you co-create and cooperate with ETs? It always starts from the ground. And if your ground isn't conscious, isn't examined, isn't confronted, then when you go out, I should say out instead of up, out into the field of consciousness, you're not going to be able to handle the information. You're not going to be able to be the person that brings in a healing technique, or an art form, or a technology, or a science, or a music, or a sustainability program. Because you don't have the ground of being to accomplish that. And so what the Institute for Exoconsciousness is about, and what the Circle is about creating this grounded, self-aware, eyes wide open, careful, self-regulating group, community of people on this planet to move this extraterrestrial contact, this exoconscious human forward into whatever comes next. Because as a well-defined self, we can handle it. Thank you.
Esse é um curso que vai fazer muito sentido e que vem para colaborar no momento oportuno. É a hora, gente. É a hora. Sabe aquele monte de dúvida de como eu faço isso, onde eu encontro aquilo, qual é o meu lugar? Você encontrou todas as respostas em um único curso. O curso de iniciação à exoconsciência do Círculo. Eu espero, sinceramente, que você faça parte dessa turma, faça parte desse curso e quero ver você lá se graduando no final com a gente, formado lá no final com a gente, feliz da vida, percebendo, nossa, onde eu estava, onde eu estou e onde eu vou parar com tudo isso que enriqueceu a minha vida. Certo? Vamos embora? Vamos começar dia 15 de agosto? Então vamos lá, ó. Círculoescola.com, garanta já a sua vaga.